So, I figure it's just going to be a quick, simple, easy one today. We're just going to go through and take a look at the Museum of Freedom, see if it makes sense as an actual museum, or if it's just more fancy set dressing that Bethesda tossed together. So, just going to do this one quick, easy, and live here, so let's head on in. Alright, so as soon as we come in, nice, easy little entryway. Some stairs and stuff, so not accessible to everybody. A couple of paintings and stuff where you can see where they were on the walls or where they were placed up in alcoves and the like. A couple of displays here, probably to show off some fairly common and or simplistic stuff that would have been in the museum. Busted up flooring, although I'm fairly sure this flooring is supposed to be from up there, where the walkway is gone on the second floor. Now, when you first come in, you're supposed to go over that way because the gate's locked. Right here, ticket booths. I'm entirely sure why they'd push ticket booths this far back. Figured they'd want it before you could see any of the attractions or anything. So, like, push that straight up there. Straight up in here. You can get a ticket and come in. Doesn't matter. Let's just go the normal way here. Some more artwork. A heat radiator. Which you figured places like this would have had 4 stair systems, but, you know, whatever. In a somewhat interactive exhibit here. Win or die, you know, teach people about it. It makes sense. I've been to places like this in the past. Not about this, mind you, but different wars and whatnot. Concrete block, cinder block, whatever you want to call it, wouldn't make sense in an exhibit like this. Like the artwork depicting the cityscape, that makes sense. These being here, not really. The colonial mannequins and stuff, sure. Never understood these ones, though. Which is just strange. Set dressing is fine, makes sense. Building facade, also fine, makes sense. In continuation of over there, but this is supposed to be, as you can see, ships and stuff painted along the walls, mast, rigging, that sort of thing. Like this here actually makes sense, you know, because, well, you could have mannequins and whatnot. It would have made more sense to have, like, you know, this is a scale replica of a cannon that would have went on a ship, or like a swivel gun, or this is a cannonball. Here, you can lift it. You know, that sort of stuff. Crates and stuff make sense. You know, Boston Tea Party, throw tea and stuff into the ocean. Also fine. Again, the walls and stuff are mostly chipped up, and you can't really see the backdrop on what it's supposed to be. But it is supposed to be ships in a harbor. You can see just a little of it over... That might help some. Right there. So, we'll move on to the next area.
Remember, lads, do with my sea. Commandos, we ride to Lexington to want Hancock and Adams.
And there you go. Again, more artwork and stuff on the walls. It's faded. Would have been the moon there, and then probably a cityscape, and then him painted on the wall somewhere around here. And again, bits and pieces. Fairly sure Paul Revere was a silversmith. So they could have had some of his silver and stuff here, his actual life. More information and stuff on him. So that all would have made sense. All would have made sense for a little area like this. And then you enter out into the main area, which does have some paintings. It's 2 there, 3 over there. The 2 ticket booths, the exit. And then you'd be able to go up the stairs. The floor is caved in. We already know this. It's where you get the fusion core for the power armor. Which that goes just... You would have actually got down there from the little utility room over here. Well, utility door. Although I gotta say, the door doesn't really match aesthetic-wise to the rest of it. They could have done something to gussy that up. Paintings and stuff just stuck down here. Again, that's fine, it makes sense. Heat ducts, which makes me wonder why the fuck there's heat radiators. Fucked up texture, because of course there is. A bunch of dirt and stuff. Not sure why this was built on dirt. This probably would have been a reinforced concrete floor. Like, maybe it's old enough to where it could have had an earthen floor, but you figure since then, the foundations would have been shored up in this building. After all, the rest of this is concrete. Kind of makes no sense for the rest of that not to be. Anyway, we'll head up the stairs. Nice, good piece of artwork there. Good mural. Actually, I think it is actually just a painting. Look at that, it is just a painting. It's even peeling. Never noticed that before. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to go to the right when we come up here. Most of this detritus and whatnot is all post-war. Same with the damage. Over here would have been offices. Okay, cool. Every museum has administrative work that needs to be done. That's fine. The wall probably would have just come straight here at a corner. The wall here also probably would have. Oh, it's weird there's no in-floor debris there. Kind of like how that's busted. Offices, offices, offices. More admin type office. With some artwork. That's fine. Other artwork and stuff dotted around here and there. The banners, fine. All makes sense for the Museum of Freedom here. Now you could have walked over the... Well, this one's not caved in. The top one is. Come on over here to where we would have come in to begin with. Right here. Would have been a nice little area to look at different exhibits and stuff. Most of that was moved. Some other stuff was brought in to reinforce it. This area here was always weird to me. Like, you have these murals and whatnot. You know, from the wherever the fucks to wherever the fuck. To the Sea of Tranquility on the moon. And then the only way I figured you could move forward is through this hole in the wall, which would make no sense tour-wise. Until I actually sat and thought, okay, there's a bunch of steel chairs in here. These were most likely from the area over here, right? This would have been blocked off with glass. That would have been down there too. So this would have mostly just been seating. People most likely would have come in here and sat down to just have people go over history. Mind you, if you're sitting in the back, you're not going to be able to see half of the mural, but it's probably what they were going for right here. Place where you sit down and look at the mural and someone like explains it to you, that sort of thing. Not really a walkthrough area because it doesn't really make sense for that. Instead of going through that maintenance tunnel that's kind of caved in, we're going to go the way we're supposed to go. Which, this would have all been here. You can actually walk along it. To the hallway and the staircase you would have come up. Again, this... You can see where it was solid wall. Radiator. Solid wall. Not entirely sure how the fuck you would have got back here for any actual maintenance. I don't see any hatches or anything. Maybe there's one buried under the rubble. Anyway. Up the stairs. Would have probably been a little sitting area where you could get food and drink. Like a little food court style area right here. Could have very well been a break area. Don't know. Come through here. More offices and whatnot. Which is a lot of administrative space for a museum this size. Hallway, more artwork, which leads out to the main area again. More artwork. Restricted area, keep out. Yeah, because it's admin work, probably archival areas and stuff too. Where they do maintenance and stuff on the artifacts that they have. Just gonna hop over there to the other side. There we go. This right here is the main office. Don't think we can come in from this side. Smaller office. Another office with some artwork. Another larger area, which shows that the wall would have been broken from that side, but it shows no wall would have been broken from this side. Also broken textures. So this area would have been open until about here, and that would have been there. No idea what this small area would have been. But this high up, it does not seem like it would have been anything for the museum proper. Well, sure, there's some artwork and whatnot. An exit sign that leads out onto the roof. I don't know if that's how that's supposed to be labeled. I always thought exit signs had to point toward the, like, ground exit. And I thought ones like this had to say roof access, but I could be wrong. With that, we'll check the main office where Preston and his like are. Don't like that shit. Main office with the balcony. Mine now. Simple as that. Just an office. So yeah, as a museum, I wouldn't really consider the Museum of Freedom that. Right? The way I would figure it is it's more of a guided tour that ends with maybe being able to sit down and have lunch. Which I guess you could just refer to that as a museum at that point if you wanted, but to me, a museum's more along the lines of you go into it, you wander about, you look at the stuff, you read the stuff. You see the artifacts. Maybe you have some people explaining stuff here and there. I know I went to a war museum down in the Carolinas, I think. And it went through the Revolution all the way up through. And I have no idea why the fuck this is taking so long to load. This is running off of an M.2 SSD on a fucking top-of-the-line whatever. Bethesda game's not the best thing on the planet. Anyway, and you had all sorts of different, like, interactable exhibits. You had people explaining how things were, handing stuff around so people can, like, this is what a 1911, you know, this is how heavy a 1911 is. And that sort of stuff. Yeah. Or, this is I specifically remember this. It was a harness system you can get into that was hooked up to a lift overhead. And you had, like, minimal controls and whatnot, and a projection on the ground below you. And it simulated paratroopers from, like, World War II. And they had big fans and stuff blowing. You could pay, like, $5 to get hooked into the thing and lift it up and then slowly try to make your way down to the landing area. They had a trench bunker built in to one of the areas and stuff. It was all quite interesting at the end of the day. But yeah, exit. Back to what we were originally talking about the museum here. This building, hang on. This room here would have still been inside. The vertibird kind of fucked that up. But that would have went forward past the vertibird. And right here is the actual roof. So, short of having a staircase up, Also, you're not really supposed to get up here and look at shit. So short of having a staircase up, I don't know what the fuck that thing was talking about when it said exit. Because there's no other exit here. Unless there was a staircase with a, like this being a little balcony area thing, then sure, but yeah, no, that makes no sense to call this area an exit. So, that's about that for the Museum of Freedom. By the by, pretty much a guided tour that take maybe 30 minutes, if done slow. Yoink. Beyond that, it's just not good as a museum. At least in Fallout. The one in real life, since this is most likely based off of a real museum here. Probably a lot nicer. But yeah, the one in Fallout is pretty much a glorified guided tour. You walk in, you go to the right through the little tour area, up the stairs to a little area where you sit down, hear about the wars in U.S. history, then maybe go up to the next floor, grab some lunch, or just leave. Right, because coming in, you'd come in, maybe pay, maybe not. You'd come this way. Listen to the message there, learn about it. Over here, listen to the message here, learn about it. Listen to the message here, learn about it. Maybe get told about the painting. Nothing over here to learn about because it's all admin stuff. Come over here, maybe peruse some of that stuff before the next little showing here comes in where you can come in, sit down, and learn about it. I'm just going to cut the quick way. And after that, you just... This is where we would come in. And then, again, I have no fucking idea what... or why. Well, at the top of the stairs here. Like a little eating area, maybe. Like, there's still velvet ropes and stuff, which figure those would have been, like, down at the remnants of the stairs or something. Especially since they have this sign here. It means you're supposed to be up here, just not going in here. Right? I mentioned they do have artwork and whatnot up here. So... yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. I still don't get what the fuck this exit sign is supposed to connect to. Oh, that's a nice touch there. The dual muskets. But yeah, no. More of the memorial thing we saw downstairs. Would have been the normal, actual flag. 50 stars, which is a thing in Fallout. We didn't switch over in the Fallout universe to 13 until later on. And then 14 after that, after we annexed Canada. But yeah, no. Museum of Freedom. Pretty much a guided tour at the end of the day. Maybe lunch afterward up here. Or maybe they just tell you to get the fuck out. Or who knows, maybe Bethesda's going to come out and say that there's an entire ancient alien civilization underneath this part of Boston, just like there is under the glowing sea. Which, yeah, no, if you didn't know that, under the glowing sea there is a, there's an entire ancient eldritch city that exists. It's talked about in the Fallout tabletop RPG, the Winter of Adam, I think it's called. Yep. Apparently it's canon. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, that's the Museum of Freedom. I figured I'd just do a quick, easy one this week because a lot of shit going on. You know how it is. You know how it is. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'd like to thank Eric Hewitt, Hi Marshall Sigismund, and Big O for sticking around to be members. If you want to be a member too, link is in the description below. Thanks for watching.